The following is a Podbeard production.
EST 2016. This is interviews, music reviews, opinions, and more. This is The Hodder Show.
What is up, everybody? We are on audio here today on episode 227 of The Hodder Show. I am absolutely amped that you are here today, and I hope you are doing fantastic. Thank you so very much for tuning in and clicking that play button on today's episode of the podcast. Man, where to start? So first and foremost, before I say anything else, I need to give a huge shout out to the band Rival Town and all their fans for the support on last week's episode of the show. It was great, very well received. I had a couple people message me saying they really enjoyed it and that they got emotional listening to my spiel about it, me getting a little emotional on the show. It was something very special to me. Big shout out again to the guys in Rival Town. That was a special one, folks. That was a special one. You know, I got emotional talking about what the one song made me feel. And also, it happened to be an episode where I said something that I think might be the funniest thing I ever kind of quote unquote ad-libbed in a podcast. And a couple people picked it out. And they were like, dude, that's a t-shirt. That's really funny. And I'm like, okay, maybe we'll see. So if you haven't yet, please go back and check out that episode. But today, I have an equally as kick-ass episode for you here today as I sit down for the very first time, which has taken way too damn long, and we discussed that a little bit, with one of my best friends in this whole world, Mr. Sam Hudson, who actually made his pro wrestling debut last night. But we're going to talk about all that, talk about Chinlock Wrestling, we talk about the Battle at the Brewery event that happened this past weekend at Spearhead Brewery. Big shout out to them. And to Jan and Justin and the whole Chinlock family. Thank you guys very much for being such gracious hosts and entertainers. As always, I had a blast. Big shout outs to Mr. Jaybird himself, Mr. Jason Reese, for allowing me to hang with him at his offices beforehand. And then my ride up with him was really fun. I wish I could have recorded that on audio, man. We had about an hour conversation. We ended up just going off so much, we ended up getting lost a little bit. So it was great. Always fun hanging out with Jay. And it was great seeing everybody who I kind of have come to know now. And a couple of them got to debut last night as well. So that was very cool. And we do talk about that. We also talk about Sam's love of wrestling, kind of a little more in-depth in the second kind of half of the episode, and who he likes, what he likes about wrestling. We get in-depth about why wrestling is having such a resurgence right now as of the last few months, and how it's interesting how it collates with his introduction into the other side of wrestling, the in-ring side of wrestling. And then we also talk a little tiny bit about superheroes because, well, he's a big superhero nerd. So we have a lot of fun, cover a lot of ground. It's an absolute blast. And I'm so glad I got to finally have Sam on. And we actually recorded this in a legit studio. So the sound quality for the actual interview portion is going to be probably 10 times better than what I normally have. But we do our best here on the Hot Show with what we have. And I'm so glad that you're here. I'm not going to waste any more time. I'm going to jump in right now with my chat with new professional wrestler Sam Hudson.
In your head, yeah. In your head. What's in your head, yeah. What's in your head.
Here we are here. I'm excited because I'm feeling my voice is maybe a little hoarse, so I do apologize because last night I was screaming at the top of my freaking lungs as my guest at this time made his pro wrestling debut. And I'm so excited. For the first time ever, the show's coming at you from a legit studio too. So if you're like, man, why does the show sound better than it ever has? That's why. And I'm so excited. I'm looking at him right now. This big, beautiful man sitting across from me. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm so happy to welcome, I was going to say aspiring pro wrestler, but new pro wrestler and one of my best friends in the whole world for the first time ever on the Hodder Show, Mr. Sam Hudson.
Hi, TJ.
What's up, buddy? How you doing?
Not too bad. How are you? I'm a little sore, I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
But I'm good otherwise. How are you?
I'm absolutely awesome, man. I'm so happy because I just have this glow about me because watching the show, as we record this, it was last night. And you guys are hearing this on Thursday. The show happened on Saturday, which, of course, was the Battle at the Brewery, Chinlock Wrestling. And
Spearhead Brewery.
At Spearhead Brewery, yes, of course. A big shout out to Spearhead. That was that Chinlock beer was very good.
I was working, so I haven't had mine yet.
We should have had it. We should have had it right now. What are we doing? It's pretty early in the morning, but screw it.
We'll figure it out.
We'll get it figured out. But so I gotta ask, man, how does it feel? Like, give me the full run on how you're feeling right now after your wrestling debut, aside from being sore.
It's a bit surreal, to be honest, because I was stressing and anxious about it the whole time, and it just kind of it happens, and then you run in the ring, and then stuff happens, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, that's over and done with, and you feel kind of relieved, but then you kind of want more, and
sure.
I'm kind of just feeling all the things you can feel right now.
All of the things that you can currently feel in the world.
That's basically how it is.
Oh, for sure. And I mean, that's the thing, right, is when you're, excuse me, like I said, guys, I apologize in advance for how much I'm doing today, but when he came out, I'll maybe try and, if I can figure it out, input the audio from the video I took of me screaming at the top of my lungs when Sam came out.
Another contestant from the Chinlock Wrestling School, Hudson.
It's funny, man, like, even though, and I'm going to say this now, just to get this out of the way, I personally feel, and I'm saying this, TJ, host of the Harder Show, that Sam was maybe a little screwed in the Rumble by
It's
what happened. Tell the people what exactly happened when you got in there.
So it was a Rumble, a battle royal style, over the top rope battle royal, and I came out and I was very, very excited, and I went in, and one of the opponents in the ring basically told me to come at him, so I threw a couple clotheslines, and it was going well, so I thought, and then he countered a clothesline. I went for the third one. I really should not have, and got hit a little bit low and got tossed over the top rope, and that was it. So a bit disappointed in myself, but it can only go up from here.
Exactly, and I mean, like I said, I personally am like, man, you got low blowed. Let's just say it like it is. I don't like that. I think that's clearly he did not have to do that, but I mean I guess that's what you get when you step into the ring, man. You never know who you're going to be in there with and what's going to happen.
It's a Rumble, and the Cael Murphy Memorial Championship was on the line, so as much as it hurt, still kind of does. I do partially understand it because the championship's on the line, and you gotta give it your all to go for the championship, especially the Cael Murphy Memorial Championship.
Absolutely, it's a prestigious championship, and it's a beautiful championship belt. And
it was held by one CJ Felony.
Yes.
He was the first champion. I got to throw that out there. But it's not a long lineage, but it's also what it means as well, because Jan Murphy, his brother, and it's such an honor for him, and that belt is on the line, and I was honored to be even considered to even have a shot at that
just to be in the Chinlock Rumble was such a big deal. And
it didn't go the way I wanted. It would have been great to walk out with that belt over my head, but there's always another day.
That's it. It's not like this is the last we're ever going to see of one Sam Hudson.
Hopefully not, no.
So what were your exact feelings? I mean, I know from talking to you before that how are you feeling kind of heading into it? What was your thought process?
I was ridiculously anxious because it was announced that 4 of the students in my class at the Chinlock Wrestling School would be entering the Chinlock Rumble. And, we were all kind of nervous and excited, but it seemed that my other students, Cael and Jessie and Rob,
shouts to them.
Shout out.
All had great showings as well.
They, they were nervous, but they seemed like calm and collected, and I was ready to throw up for all of yesterday, and then just went through the curtain, and the second you walk through the curtain there, it kind of it all just fades away, and even though it is a little bit stressful when, it's a new entrant and everyone's staring at you, you just kind of, all right, there's the ring. I need to go that way. And, it was a bit like I was disappointed again, getting tossed out over the top rope. Being a big guy, I thought I might have an advantage, but Dino Benjamin's got some strength on him, and he just hucked me right over, and that was the end of that. But, hopefully one day I get another shot for the Cale Murphy Memorial Championship, because
For sure, yeah.
I would like to go after that and hopefully honor it the right way.
I would like to and again, this is me saying this, not Sam, but I would like to see you square off with him again. Let's see if he can pull one on you again that way. But that's all I'm going to say for that. But it was a great Rumble. And again, shout outs to Cael, Jessie, and Rob, who all had great showings as well. It was very cool. It was a great show. The Battle of the Brewery was definitely a humongous success. Shouts to Jan and I guess Justin. I'm a little upset with him right now as a fan, but not Justin. I'm upset with CJ Felony.
That's understandable.
But again, you got to do what you got to do, I guess. But
I gotta stay impartial here.
Yes, absolutely. And shouts as well to all the guys at the show, and shouts to my boys Fear the Beard, Kane, and Kable, having a great showing last night. Freaking Kable jumping off the. That's probably the thing that everyone in the Chinlock world, it's one of the things everyone's talking about from that show is my boy Kable jumping off the freaking kegs.
I saw a picture and he's on the kegs and just jumped off.
He was up high. If you guys haven't seen it too, you should check it out on the Chinlock. Just go on Facebook, type in Chinlock Wrestling. It's up there. It's a picture of him. He's got to be up. There's 3 or 4 keg skids stacked on top of each other, and he climbs up to it and he jumps off. And it's just crazy.
Fear the Beard, man. I understand why it is Fear the Beard, because I saw them in the locker room once, and there was a barbed wire bat, and I was like, I'm just gonna walk the other way now.
I'm gonna stay away.
I'm just this new kid. I'm not gonna. Nope. And they just kept on walking.
Don't want none of that. But as a newbie, quote unquote, and I want to talk about the school, and then obviously get into more about wrestling and that. But how does it feel to be, because I know you had been in that locker room kind of a little before as a fan. You had a couple opportunities just to kind of meet some of the guys and that, but how does it feel now to go back and now you're in there as oh, whoa, I'm doing this for myself for real now?
It's pretty surreal, because again, at Chinlock 5, the students were involved a little bit as well, and we weren't so much in the locker room. We were just kind of backstage, helping out and prepping for certain things. But with this, it was kind of, we were new. We were obviously the students. We didn't have full gear or anything like that. We all just had our gym attire, if you will, our training gear. But everyone that was there was very cool. They understood we were students and they were willing to work with us. And a lot of them were excited for us.
Oh, for sure. Everyone was. Yeah, it was a great vibe last night.
So it was really nice to have that, because, there's always horror stories and everything. But, it felt like a community almost, there was camaraderie, and obviously I was ridiculously nervous and anxious, and once guys started talking to us, it was just all Danny Franchise. That man,
great guy, such a great guy, and talented as all hell.
Yeah,
his talent matches how nice of a guy he is outside of the ring too.
My new favorite wrestler is Stone Cold Danny Franchise. So. That's
great showing last night from Stone Cold Danny. I mean, I liked Kofi Franchise myself. I think that was more my that Trouble in Paradise. I don't know how how freaking Cable took that, but anyway, it's another story.
But yeah, it was nice to be in the locker room, and I just kind of kept to the corner and kept quiet for a lot of it. But yeah, just listen. When guys had advice, if they wanted to talk to you, just listen, and it was really nice to hear that and tried my best to understand it and utilize it the best of my ability.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, when you're in a situation like that where there's guys that maybe you'd met before in passing as a fan, and then now it's they're giving you advice and they're giving you this, the time to talk to you. I can only imagine that that's got to be surreal. Well, it's oh, hey, I've watched you.
Yeah.
And now you're giving me advice. And I want to go into super, super detail, obviously, but what was some of the kind of quick basic things that anyone give you in pertains to the Rumble? Was there anything anyone was hey, don't do this, try this, don't do that?
Just, advice on, trying the best in the Rumble, but they didn't want to give too much advice.
Of course. Well, yeah, of course.
If they were in the Rumble, right, they don't want some new kid trying to
some 6'4" strapping kid to come running in, and this big 6'4" guy here. But
yeah, they had some advice and how to try and stay in the ring, and if they toss you over, it didn't work for me at all. It's as soon as I went towards that rope, next thing I knew I was face planting onto the concrete floor there, which I got a nice.
He's got a nice
shiner.
It adds character, right?
Yeah, But I'm going to try and hear more of those tips if anyone has any more, and try and utilize them better if I ever get a shot in an over-the-top rope battle royal once again.
For sure. So I want to go back for a minute because this is the first time I'm having you on my show, which is, I can't believe it's taking this freaking
There is a
long.
lost
So
episode.
That is true. I did talk about it.
in the past for when Roman Reigns won the Royal Rumble.
Yes.
We had
It's
a
2017, I think, right? Or it had to have been 17.
15, I think.
No, it wasn't that long ago. I wasn't doing the show then.
No, it wasn't when he won, excuse me. It was when he came out at entry number 30.
And it was when Brock Lesnar was tossing guys into the ropes left, right, and center.
Yeah.
And I got really mad about it. Yeah.
So yeah, that was 2017? That sounds
It had
right.
to have been 2017.
Yeah. But I remember we thought we found a clever way to record the podcast with a game stream, but then all of the wrestling sound effects. Which, I mean, on a wrestling podcast, if you have the sounds of the mat crashing in the back, it's probably not the worst, but you said it was kind of interfere. So there is a lost episode.
Yes.
Maybe one day it will be released.
Well, you know what? I'm going to break kayfabe here for a second. That was all the call at the time of the producer of the Hotter Show.
That's right.
We're made nameless right now, but he said
out there.
I don't know if we can use this, man. And I think the problem was because I was like, oh, I got to raise you guys' voices up a little bit. I think that was the issue, and then it was like it's pulling everything else up. So, but anyway, regardless, it was a great episode.
It was. I remember going on a long rant because I was very upset at some things.
We were the three of us were very upset.
Yeah.
And so in a way I'm kind of like I'm not glad it wasn't able to be used, but like I was complaining so much. That was when I was kind of falling out of love with wrestling a little bit. Like I was just like, man, this sucks, that sucks, and
it can be negative, but it's nice to be. It seems that there's a lot more positivity in wrestling once again.
Oh yeah,
and I really like to see that resurgence of, like obviously becoming a wrestler and like trying to become a wrestler, I should say, and just do everything. I have all these friends that are also interested in wrestling, so it comes up often, but even then it still seems like it's coming up more and more. Like it feels like a definite resurgence of wrestling, and I am here for it. I love it. I love wrestling, and people want to talk about wrestling more. Hello, I'm Sam Hudson.
This is Sam Hudson. He will talk
Reach
wrestling
out to me. Talk
all
to me
day,
about
every
any
day.
wrestling. I will be here.
And if you want to, hit him up, check him out on Facebook and stuff. I'll make sure I link him.
I post wrestling stuff. I post superhero stuff.
Yeah, I'm looking at the area where he is in right now, and he's got lots of superhero stuff kicking around.
Sure do.
But I want to go back for a second because I haven't had the chance to talk to you on the show yet, and I kind of have a bit of a bone to pick with you on this.
Uh-oh.
And you already know. I think you might know where I'm going with this, but Chinlock 5, fantastic show. It happened to be the first Chinlock show I'd ever been to, so it was kind of fun for me to see all that. But as you know, I'm a babyface, okay? That's what I just do it. You know what I mean? I'm a good guy. Can't help it. I like good guys. So, as excited as I was to see you come out with CJ Felony, I was a little...
CJ Felony.
The great... Yes, okay, sure. The great CJ Felony. Air quotes, anyway.
No air quotes.
I was a little disappointed at the tactics that were used. So what's going on with that? What happened? What was? How did that whole thing come to be?
You got to do what you got to do.
He was just the hired muscle, man. I don't know.
Not necessarily hired muscle.
Not hired, but you know what I mean. Yeah,
it's more about loyalty.
Okay, I can see that.
If there's a man who goes out of his way and does everything he can to try and make you a competent wrestler, a strong ability in the ring, you're not going to just drop him because you don't agree with some things. CJ Felony was well deserving of the Cale Murphy Memorial Championship. I still believe that. And that's why I'm happy about last night as well.
Oh, and we're going to talk about that because that's a big thing that happened too last night.
But CJ Felony is deserving of championships that will never, ever be different in my mind. Regardless
of the tactics he uses.
You got to do what you got to do, as I said.
Fair. I can accept that. Well, I personally can't accept it, but well, it is what it is. I'm not going to
differ there, but that's all right.
You're a lot bigger than me, so we're not going to get into that right now.
But I can power slam you if you'd like.
I'm good.
That's through this glass here.
Okay. Oh, shit, man. I don't know. I'm okay. I mean, I appreciate the offer, but I'm good.
I'm here for it.
I don't want to go from here. I'm kind of a little intimidated now, but even though you got that $1 million smile, you still got that look in your eye that you're like, I do it. I will throw you through this glass. But how was that as opposed to Because that was the first time that anyone got to, quote unquote, see you guys at all.
Yeah.
So how was that compared to last night?
That one, again, I was also anxious for, but a little bit less, I'd say. Obviously, being at the Leon Center, which was, it's been around in Kingston where I grew up for a long time, and I've seen countless wrestling shows in Kingston, let alone in that arena itself. So the idea that my first ever foray into being part of a show of live wrestling was very stressful, to say the least, but it was also very cool. That the first show I went, and there's literally thousands of people down at the ring, and you and a few other people were there, and I kept it under wraps for a while.
This guy.
And bamboozled all of you, and
we done got bamboozled, folks.
That was a cool feeling, knowing that you guys were surprised and everything, and I made you guys save me a seat and everything. Like I was gonna come sit with you.
Let me run down this real quick. So we're at this awesome arena. It's the first time I was seeing a Chinlock Wrestling show, and I'm hanging out with big shouts to all our wrestling crew there. He just threw up the click sign. Y'all couldn't see it, but click sign. Big too sweet, but we're there. No, make sure you guys save me a seat. I'll be back once I'm done helping with setup and stuff. So, okay, cool. And then, we see a video of these people helping CJ Felony attack Jan Murphy, which I don't agree with, but we're not going to do that right now.
Couldn't be the referee.
So then we see CJ Felony come out, and then all of a sudden, whoa, what's all these guys in yellow jumpsuit? Wait a minute. Is that Sam? What is he doing? And it was a beautiful, wonderful moment that I actually captured on video. So I'm glad I did, but I had the wherewithal to make that happen. But I mean, as much as I'm agreeing with some of the tactics that were used and stuff, it was a beautiful, wonderful moment that I'm so glad I got to be there for.
I was glad you could be there for it. And it was cool that, again, tactics are different things, but I needed CJ Felony to win that championship for my personal feelings, but CJ is also well deserving of that championship.
Absolutely, yeah. And taking nothing away from CJ Felony. He's been around a lot and he's done a lot for Chinlock. I'm not going to sit here and say he hasn't as much as I might not agree with some of the stuff he does. But as far as when you, and this is just me trying to be funny at this point, how did it feel to get punched in the face by Jan Murphy? How'd that feel?
Not great. When he entered himself in the Rumble, which I'm also still not well versed on, we decided, that couldn't happen. Jan Murphy, we did not think deserved a title shot for, his brother's belt. It was made in honor of his brother, and he's just going to go and take it. And especially with CJ winning that championship. So we decided that, that needed to be stopped. So we went out there and, circled the ring, and Catalyst Nick Williams and Jan Murphy put a quick stop to us and took a nice right straight to the jaw. Felt that one for a little while.
And he threw, I have a picture, and you can see the bottom of Jan's shoe as he's coming up into it. So I'm like, that had to hurt.
Yeah, the jaw still hurts a little bit here, right on the left side. Clicks a little bit.
You're going to feel that forever.
Yeah. But, he ended up winning that Rumble, and then he did end up winning the championship. So that's how it goes sometimes.
He beat the holy hell out of CJ Felony.
Yeah,
we'll talk about that. But we've talked about students, and we've talked about, of course, CJ Felony, who also happens to be the trainer for the Chinlock Wrestling School, which is where, of course, you have been training. So run me through all that. How did that all come to be? How did you get involved with that? And what are kind of some of the, obviously we're not going to go into everything you learn at wrestling school, but I'm really curious, what's like some of the stuff you kind of start to learn, and what's some of the stuff that he has instilled into you?
Well, it's basically, once the school was announced, something I've been a lifelong wrestling fan. From the age of 6, I've just been enthralled and loving the business of wrestling. And as soon as the Chinlock Wrestling School was announced, I was like, that's a wrestling school that's awfully close to where I am.
Like 20 minutes away, right?
Yeah. And it's, it kind of just set up, and it was almost too good to be true. And I had known CJ, Justin, for a while. And just the idea that there was a school by someone that I know is a great wrestler, someone that I knew personally, and that I know I would be getting good training that is also close to home. It was almost as if, there was more reasons to do it than not to do it, which is with everything else, it almost feels the other way around. You know, there's more reasons not to do something than to do something. And there was more reasons to do it. So I kind of I rolled the dice and went to the class. And the first night I was absolutely petrified, you know, terrified because I didn't know what to expect.
Well, and that was the first time you stepped into a ring too, right? Yeah.
And I had no idea what to expect. And I was very, very scared. And we just went over some things. And then, you know, class evolved. And, you know, there's times when we end up getting suplexed or, you know, headlocked and end up having to tap out in submissions and stuff. But through learning those, getting those applied to us, then Justin will help us show how we can counter those moves or how we can end up applying them ourselves and continuing on through it. And every day we learn something else. We learn how we can transition something, or we learn a new move, or, you know, if two of us end up having a match at the class, you know, we give it our all right there, and just to see the best we can do and continue on. But every day is a new move, and we just continue forward the best we can.
And obviously you're learning, like, you know, hey, if this, like you said, how to counter things, and hey, if this guy's got you in this, you can do this, or, you know, hey, if you're about to get hit with this, do this so you don't get hit with that because that hurts.
Exactly.
Let's not do that.
Yeah. And, you know, sometimes you can't counter the move. Sometimes, you know, you might try, but they got a lock on you. And all you know is that you're standing there, and all of a sudden you're in the air and you come right back down on the mat.
All of a sudden you're on your back and you're like, that
and
tickled.
you realize you've been suplexed, and then you realize there's someone on top of you going for the pin, and you I gotta get up. And, you know, you do your best to get your shoulder up. Sometimes it doesn't always work, you know. Early on in these moves, or in these classes, excuse me, then, you know, they do a move on you and it just rattles you to your core. And you're just frozen there, and you don't understand what's going on. You think that might be the floor, but it's the ceiling. But the more we do it, the more we learn that, you know, our bodies are used to it, and we can try and continue through it, so we can continue that fight and get back up and try and continue on.
For sure. And I mean, now, so how long exactly have you been training at this point? It
was the beginning of May.
Okay.
Was when the inaugural Chinlock Wrestling class started. And yeah, and like, I honestly, it's a genuine honor to be a part of that school. And just because I've respected Chinlock Wrestling for so long, you know, I've been to every show but one, which Jan Murphy will not let me ever forget. Like, no matter what, the first Chinlock show came together like instantly. It felt like they announced it, and it came on 3 weeks later. And I just, no matter what, like, Kingston, wrestling in Kingston was something that I went to and supported as much as I could. And even when I moved an hour away for school and everything as well. And Chinlock Wrestling was just something I was always interested in. And it was really, really cool to kind of have the full evolution, because I've gone to Chinlock Wrestling as a fan, and now I'm kind of on the other side. You know, like I've helped out, I've helped set up the ring and everything like that. And
helped tear down the ring.
Which you saw as well.
That was, I'm not going to lie, as a fan, last night being able to be there and, like, you know, see everything, and I helped carry a 2x4 too, you know. Yeah. It's like, that was really cool to see.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I'm glad you were able to help out, and Jaber Digital Arts there as well. And,
man. I got to hang with Jason last night for a little while. I got to help show some merch, so that was a lot of fun.
Yeah, no, I'm glad you got to be a part of it. But yeah, just as I was saying, like, it's a really cool perspective to, you know, see Chinlock as a fan's perspective, and then now to see it on the other side.
Oh, for sure.
And it's very stressful, because, you know, when you're walking out towards a crowd that you used to genuinely be a part of, you know, there's faces in there that, you know, have sat beside you at certain wrestling shows, and now they're looking at you as you're going towards a ring, and, you know, that's where the anxiety comes in, because it's like, oh, I'm part of this now. And yeah, just, you know, long live Chinlock Wrestling. And
oh, for sure.
It is a genuine and complete honor to be a part of Chinlock Wrestling, and I don't take a second of it for granted, and I want to just continue on with it as long as I can.
For sure. And if you guys are interested in learning maybe a little bit more about Chinlock Wrestling, I have done 2 episodes with Jan Murphy, CEO of Chinlock Wrestling, in the past. They were both really great episodes. Jan's a great guy. And I'm hoping in the future, to anyone out there who in the Chinlock Wrestling family, hit your boy up. I want to get, I would like to at some point sit down with the new current Chinlock heavyweight wrestling champion, Mr. CJ Felony. I think that would be good, but as much as so, from your perspective, and I already know the answer, but I'm going to ask anyway because I don't know how I feel about it. With what CJ did, so for those of you who do not know, last night at the Battle of the Brewery, Beautiful Bia defended the Chinlock Championship, which was supposed to be against the Immaculate Ray St. John. However,
Something happened to him.
And I think we can all... Something happened to him, wink, wink.
I don't know what you're talking about.
And they lost the contract.
Are you alleging something here, TJ?
I don't know. I don't know what I'm alleging.
Something happened to him, and then the contract ended up in the hands of someone, and they needed a challenger for the title defense. And who better to step up to save the show, save the main event himself, than CJ Felony?
When he came out earlier on before the show started, Justin, we're all happy to see him. Everyone's happy. He's on the good side, he's hugging Jan, he's hugging Bill Welichka, which I never thought I'd see. That was awesome. And then he comes out at the end of the show with this contract that he found, I guess we'll say, and he ends up winning the championship using tactics that I will not.
That's just smart. If there's a contract up for grabs for a title shot, you get to contend for the Chinlock Wrestling Heavyweight Championship.
But there's ways to go about certain things, I think. Is there not? Like, is that just out the window when it comes to championships? You just want to get it however, and it doesn't matter whether or not you were originally in that match, or you just...
Championships they're a legacy. They continue on. They're the height of certain companies. And the idea of every wrestler's dream is to go on to a company and win a championship.
Sure.
So you scratch and claw your way to the top. And some people do it by any means necessary. I don't see anything wrong with that. Again, I was eliminated in a Rumble. I had a title shot last night, technically, and it didn't go to the best of my ability. I wish I could have done more to win said championship. I didn't. CJ Felony did, and he's the current Chinlock Wrestling Heavyweight Champion. And
regardless, that's all she wrote on that, because right now he is holding that belt. And, of course, real quick, we'll talk about this too. Jessie Mack, the selfie queen. I don't know who she is now, but
she's the Cael
for what happened last night. That's it. You took the words right out of my mouth with her turning and seemingly aligning herself with CJ Felony. What do you think of that? What are your thoughts on that?
I don't have much to say about that, TJ.
I don't know. I was shocked, just like everyone else there. Couldn't believe it. There were kids in the audience that were screaming, "Why, Jesse?"
Why wouldn't you want to align yourself with CJ Felony, though? Why wouldn't you?
I don't know.
The man is a great wrestler. He understands the ring. He understands wrestling. He is a champion. He's had multiple championships in Chinlock Wrestling. Why wouldn't you want to align yourself with him?
Because when you've got guys who are in there and they have honor and they want to just step in the ring and prove themselves in the ring without having to rely on hitting people with trash cans or attacking people from behind or anything like that. Why? I don't personally understand why you would want to align yourself with someone like that. I can't, myself personally, I can't see it. But
when you go through a wrestler's resume, so to speak, what is brought up? What is brought up on a wrestler's resume? Championships.
Championship reigns.
Former champions. Right? You go through and you go through every single belt. So you want to add that to your resume. You want the championship. That's the drive in being a wrestler. CJ Felony has those championships. He had them in the past. Why wouldn't you want to align yourself with CJ Felony?
It's hard to argue with that logic. I may not like it, but it is hard to argue with it.
That's all I can say. CJ Felony, Chinlock Wrestling Champ, and Jessie Mack, Cael Murphy Memorial Champion.
I don't know. But regardless, I'm going to take a quick second here to give a big shout out to my man Jaybird Digital Arts, and then we're going to come back with more with my man Mr. Sam Hudson. Hey you. Yeah, you. Listening to the Harder Show right now. Are you maybe in a band? Maybe you're a content creator? Maybe you're a performer of some kind who needs t-shirts or logos? Or are you maybe a business owner who's in need of some mailers or some brochures for your business? Maybe some business cards as well? Or are you someone who just needs some family photos edited and you're looking for the perfect graphic designer for you, you need to look no further than my man, Mr. Jason Reese from Jaybird Digital Arts. Jaybird Digital Arts is a local business, and you will be supporting the local economy. You will be dealing directly with the boss. There's no sales reps. There's no runaround. You're dealing with the man himself. Above par work at below par rates. And he has over 10 years experience. He will work long and late to make sure your project gets finished on time and on budget. If you have been living under a rock, everybody is using Jaybird Digital Arts, from myself and the whole Podbeard Network, Chinlock Wrestling, House of Hardcore, tons of different bands, Gino's Pizza. Everyone is using Jaybird Digital Arts. And he offers so many other services, I don't even have time to list right now. It would take the whole podcast, but whatever you need, he has your hookup. And he will make sure that he is unique and that you will stand out from the crowd. Contact him today for a free quote by going on JaybirDigitalArts.com, or you can also check him out on Facebook and Instagram at Jaybird Digital Arts and search hashtag Jaybird Digital Arts for a look at all of his awesome and unique work. And you can also contact him by email at jaybird.digital.arts@gmail.com. And on top of all of that, if you contact him today and let him know that your boy Hodder sent you, he'll even give you a little discount skis on his already fantastic prices. I can assure you, you will find no one better and not a better human being on this earth than Jaybird Digital Arts. And always remember this, folks. His business is not successful unless your business looks great. Contact Jaybird Digital Arts for your free quote today.
What's in your head? In your head. What's in your head? What's in your head?
Back here on the Hard Show with man who made his pro wrestling debut last night, Mr. Sam Hudson. And, you know, before my little break there, we were talking about Chinlock and his debut and a lot of other stuff. But the Sam Hudson I really truly know is just a lifelong passionate wrestling fan, maybe one of the most passionate I've ever had the pleasure of coming across in my life. So I want to ask, man, what was your first exposure to wrestling?
This is actually going to be kind of a funny story because I wouldn't say it's the most ordinary exposure to wrestling. So my childhood, one of my best friends, Justin Hargrove, who you were supposed to meet last night, but unfortunately he wasn't able to come. He and I were just good buddies, and, you know, wrestling was kind of his deal. And again, very young at the time. I think I was 6. But we would play video games together once in a while. And he was like, play SmackDown with me. And I'm like, I don't know what that is, but let's go. So he loads up SmackDown, and, you know, the intro starts with the old SmackDown music. And right away, I'm like, okay, I see. And then, so then he's like, all right, let's do a match. I'm like, I don't know what that means.
What is a match?
Sure. And so he loads up, and he's like, who do you want to be? And I'm like, I don't, The Rock, I don't know. And he's like, well, try this Kane guy. And I'm like, oh, he's big and red. He's got a mask. Oh, sure, why not?
He's key.
So we load up. He's Jeff Hardy. He's always Jeff Hardy. So it's Jeff Hardy versus Kane, one-on-one match on SmackDown. And I load up, and I hear Kane's music for the first time, you know, just with the organ. And, like, he had this, like, it was the old video with, like, the red clouds and fire burning over. And right away, I was like, okay, this is cool. And then, and almost instantly, I was like, well, this guy is the best. And
this is the best wrestler ever.
Just need to throw out that Kane is still my favorite to this day, 20 years later. And from there, and then I think it was a week or two later, he invited me over for, it was SmackDown or Raw, but it was the Christmas Eve episode. And I still remember the first time it, like, clicked for me. I remember JR and King on commentary, and so it must have been Raw. But they were talking, and, like, right then I was like, I get this. Like, I get what this is, and I enjoy it, and I want to watch more of it. And, you know, there's been little breaks. There's been a couple times where I just kind of fell out of wrestling when big things in life happened, you know, went off to college, or I moved somewhere for my first job and stuff. But no matter what, I always went back to wrestling. And it's, you know, one of the few things in my life that is always there, and no matter what, I'm going to love it. And it's always, it's like a blanket, you know. If you've had a rough day, one of my favorite things to do is when I come home after a rough day, just put on some wrestling. You know, it can be an old episode. Thank you to the WWE Network.
Yes.
And also, I just have all the channels to watch wrestling.
I don't know anyone who has more channels than this guy just to watch wrestling.
Literally just to watch wrestling. But yeah, it's honestly, it is my comfort blanket. I love wrestling and I love watching it. I love talking about it. I love playing the video games of it. Pretty much anything to do with wrestling, I'm here for it.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean that was literally how we met. We met at a wrestling show, you know, and so it's funny to see how this friendship has progressed to the point now.
And that's what I mean is that I've honestly made tons of friendships through wrestling. One of my best friends from college, it was right around the time I got back into it. I walked into class, it must have been the second or third day, and I was wearing, I don't know if I should say, I was wearing a CM Punk t-shirt.
No.
And this guy that I didn't know in my class was like, CM Punk shirt, nice. And I was like, thanks. Can I sit with you? And we've been friends to this day. And shout out Brody. I don't know if you hear this, but yeah, that's literally how he and I met. And we ended up just watching wrestling every Monday together in Commons. And I've made a lot of friendships through wrestling, including yours truly, Mr. TJ.
Yes. Well, and it's funny, man, because like wrestling's one of those things that like, it brings so many people together because it's so passionate. And, you know, even again, just quickly, like with last night, I got to meet so many fans while helping out with the merch stuff. Just getting to, I shouldn't say helping out with the merch. I was standing next to Jason the whole night. That's what I was doing. Yeah. I was just hanging with Jay. But getting to talk to these fans and talking to these kids and people who, I've been coming to the Chinlock shows forever, and I never miss one. And these people who are passionate about this and they love and respect, the sport of professional wrestling. It's something that, and, professional wrestling, sports entertainment, whatever you want to call it. I call it professional wrestling to me. That's what it is. Wrestling, if you will. If you will.
I like to call it wrestling. Some people don't like to call it wrestling, but it's it's kind of fun to call it that, and just some good old fashioned wrestling.
There's a good old fashioned wrestling match. But before we came, we were watching a little bit of NWA Power.
We were,
which I didn't know was a thing till today. So we were watching that.
Recently reemerged, and again with the resurgence of wrestling that we touched on quickly. Like the NWA's back.
Actually back.
Back. They have an old studio looking show. It's on YouTube every week, every Tuesday. And, the first episode is, we haven't finished it yet, but I was really enjoying it.
So was I. I was really into it.
Just the old studio feel, but, then you have guys like Nick Aldis and Eli Drake, they're just tearing it up in the ring. And it's like, I'm going to watch it every Tuesday. And, it's an hour.
Yeah, I'm going to as well, because it's just, there's something to be said for that old school, just pro wrestling vibe.
Yeah.
And you go and watch the WWE, and it's great, and it's clean, and it's production's very high on it, and it's fun and it's good. And then you watch other product like an Impact or like AEW or whatever, and it's kind of the same vibes, but there's something to be said for that live studio old school presentation that they were doing. I shouldn't say live, but you know what I mean. It's
the vibe I was getting from it is that it almost feels like you're in the audience as well, even though you're watching it on a TV. Because with WWE and AEW, great shows, but the entirety of it is a show. You go backstage and then you see promos and all this. But the promos in NWA, when they come out, it's literally at the commentary table right beside the ring. So it genuinely, the entire show, to me anyway, it feels like you're part of the audience, even if you're not down in Atlanta. And that's a really cool feeling to have as someone at home watching wrestling. It feels like you're part of the show when you're not.
Oh, for sure. And that's what's cool about with this, like we were talking about, the kind of the resurgence of professional wrestling, where, now there's these little pockets almost of there's stuff in Canada that's happening, in the Ontario scene, where there's these guys popping up and the shows are doing well and people are coming out to wrestling again. And wrestling is, I think you said it to me earlier, where it's the past few months especially, and this is not me trying to say anything more about with the AEW thing, regardless of what anyone may say or side with the Wednesday Night Wars or anything. I'm not saying anything about that, because that's all silly to me. It's all wrestling. But right around that time, man, it was just something happened.
Yeah.
And it's something snapped. And now wrestling is not only becoming, quote unquote, cool again, quote unquote, but it's you know, there are people that maybe used to love wrestling, but they got tired of the squeaky clean, polished WWE stuff where, you know, sometimes stuff is so overly scripted that it's just, it feels fake and it feels like you're watching a soap opera, you know, and that's about as critical as I get anymore, that kind of stuff. But to then now it's like, this is real wrestling.
Yeah, and
this is what we want.
You know, because wrestling never went away, and like there were still tons that was great and
absolutely
a ton to watch. And again, I've been watching it almost every week.
And that's not me necessarily talking crap about WWE either.
Of course,
like,
yeah.
But
it was just, you know, wrestling almost felt monopolized for a long time, and you know there was other forays, but it didn't have the kind of the intensity that some newcomers have. But now everyone, it almost feels almost territorial again, even though it's not.
For sure.
There isn't actual borders of territories, but, you know, there's so many companies that are making a strong presence, whether it's online or with live shows or with television shows and, you know, television deals and everything. It's coming back. And now you can literally watch live wrestling every day of the week. And it's amazing, you know, because before, I remember as a kid, it was like Monday Raw, Thursday SmackDown. That's it.
Yeah.
And like Canada didn't have Spike TV for when TNA Impact came around. And once we finally got it, then it was like, oh, now you can watch Impact. And sometimes it was on Thursday, but it moved around. But now, you know, Monday you can watch Raw. Tuesday you can watch NWA. Wednesday you can watch NXT and AEW. And it just goes on and on and on. And now SmackDown's on Friday. And, you know, I think Impact is Friday at 10 as well. And it's just, there's wrestling all the time. And again, that is why I have a cable bill, is to watch all that wrestling.
And you can DVR stuff and you can watch. And it's just, it's such a cool time to be a wrestling fan. And, you know, being able to watch, just speaking on AEW for a second, like being able to watch that first pay-per-view.
Yeah.
You felt something. Like I kind of podcast about it where I was just like, it made me.
And we got to watch it together.
Yeah, we did. And it kind of made me, I'm pretty sure I said it a couple times watching it with you. I'm just like, this is just this feeling I can't. And it's not like, oh, it's AEW and I'm a WWE guy. Nothing like that. It's just, it is what I love about it is the professional wrestling, more the sports side of it and the storytelling in the ring and things like that. That's what I love about it. So WWE's style of more entertainment-based stuff is great and it's highly entertaining, but I need more than that sometimes. And that's what I felt watching that. And that's what I feel watching stuff like Power from NWA and watching live stuff like Chinlock. I get that vibe from it for me personally. So it kind of helps with my appetite a little bit more for wrestling with my personal taste.
It's just that's what I love about wrestling as a whole. You know, I love the entertainment side. I love the wrestling side. I love that we can have just discussions about this. You know, there's so many different styles of wrestling now that, you know, you can pick and choose that you like this, you like that. But I'm just grateful that we have that opportunity to even just discuss this. You know, we're recording just talking about wrestling.
Absolutely.
And it's just, I love that. I love wrestling so much that it's just, it makes me so happy that this can even just be a thing. And again, 2 people are in the ring, 3 people are in the ring. I don't care how many people are in the ring. I want to watch it. You know, I have no allegiance to any company by any means. If there is a squared circle and there are ropes and a suplex happens, I'm going to clap.
I'm going to clap and watch. Yeah. That's what it's all about. And I mean, when you've got, like you were saying earlier, there's just so much of it now. And, you know, like me personally, like, you know, I don't necessarily have the chance to watch AEW and WWE a lot. So, like, and I always miss it. Oh, buddy, don't tempt me. I'll be there every night. But, and then, you know, but then I see stuff like Power where, like, I'm like, wait, I can watch this on YouTube? Yeah. So, like, I'm in on that full. That's why I'm talking about it so much, because I'm so excited because I get to watch it. But, like, when you have so much of it to consume, it's like, because for a while there, we didn't have that. And we would get so negative on the WWE, and still to this day, people are just, it's like the fun thing to do. Just, oh, let's crap all over WWE, and they're, oh, I could write better creative, and blah, blah. It's like, okay, well then do it. Shut up and do it. You know, that's my opinion on it. But
well, that's the thing, is that we did have a lot of content to consume, but again, it was all
from the same
source.
That same bubble, so to speak.
Right? And so oversaturation can be the same with anything. Again, I'm also a giant superhero fan. There's also the argument about superhero movies oversaturating the market. But I'm not one who gets oversaturated very easily, I will say. Because I love all superhero movies. And again, I can watch wrestling every single night and I don't get tired of it. There were times in the past where I did, but again, now that there's different sources, different styles, different production values, and just an entirely different feel, but that same core thing of wrestling. 2 people in a ring, regularly anyway, but people in a ring just putting on the best performance they can. You know, they want to have a great match, they want to entertain people, and that's what it's all about. And we get that from multiple sources, and it's very entertaining across the board, in my opinion anyway.
For sure. And I mean, when you have different styles of wrestling too, where, you know, like I always talk about, like, I'm more of a fan of the technical side of wrestling and like the, you know, telling a story in a ring and what's going on, and, you know, paying attention to the moves and having respect for the fact that, hey, this guy just hit this and like, oh man, that had to hurt, and like stuff like that, you know what I mean? Like it's that side of it where, I guess, the sport, quote unquote, of professional wrestling. Where do you fall as far as what you like? Do you kind of like more the, you know, like the entertainment side, the comedy side, or are you kind of more of a traditionalist?
Like, I'm going to sound like the biggest people pleaser, if you will, but I genuinely love all of that. Like, you know, like Dynamite had a match, Private Party versus the Young Bucks. It kicked off their tag team championship tournament there. And that match blew my face off. You know, it was just 20 minutes, balls to the wall, and it just kicked off. It kicked off Dynamite. You know, and I was just thoroughly entertained, and, you know, I thought the match was going to end, and it didn't, and then there was crazy moves, and then, you know, Private Party hits Gin and Juice, which is a Hurricane Rana into a jumping cutter, and I literally jumped off my couch, and there was no one in my apartment with me. I was alone, and I jumped off my couch. I'm like, wrestling's more fun to watch with people.
I was there with you in spirit.
But then also, there was also just SmackDown last week when, you know, The Rock comes back, and, you know, he cuts a promo, and I feel like I'm 6 years old again. The Rock comes out and makes fun of someone, and then he literally lays the smack down, gives the people's elbow and a rock bottom, and I feel like I'm a 6, and I'm jumping off my couch again. Jordan was there with me too.
So that was a little better.
He was excited, but we were having dinner at the table, and then The Rock's music hit, and I literally got up and ran over to the couch, and I don't even remember doing that. It was like my body went on, okay, you need to go sit down to watch The Rock.
The Rock's here, go sit down.
Right? So I do love the entertainment side like that, you know, just a promo, a little move, but then there is also comedy. Santino Marella. I had the honor of meeting him last night as well, and I remember being on the floor laughing, rolling from just, you know, they were so funny. I love comedy wrestling. I love technical. I honestly can't pick just one that I love more than the other, because I just genuinely love the entire art of wrestling.
For sure. I mean, I had the distinct honor of getting Santino Marella pizza, so no big deal or anything. We're basically buddies now, but got him what he needed, folks. That's what you do. But as far as with talking a little bit more about you for a second, what do you envision, kind of a little bit, without giving too much away, what kind of do you envision as who is Sam Hudson going to be? Or are you still kind of in that process where you're like, it's just
honestly, I don't even have an answer for that. That this journey, it hasn't been a long journey. It's been, I guess, 5 months or so now. Wow. But it almost just feels like I'm here for the ride. And, you know, you hop in the car, you're not exactly sure where it's going, but you're looking out the window and enjoying the sights along the way. That's kind of how it feels for me right now. Is, you know, every class I love every single class. I go to class, I have my routine. You know, I get entirely nervous going to class every single time. I don't like, you know, I know everyone there, I trust everyone there, but I get nervous every single time.
And I think that's a good thing. You
Thanks. Doesn't always feel the best, but, you know, I'm going to this class with people I trust week in and week out, and, you know, I feel nervous every single time, but then as soon as I get in there, I start to feel comfortable, and, you know, we start doing holds and rolls, things like that, and I end up feeling a bit more comfortable. And at the end of the class, every single time, I'm like, why was I nervous? I don't understand. I love this. I love coming to class. I love learning these things. And then a couple days rolls by, and a couple days roll by, and all of a sudden, I'm nervous again. And the exact same thing happens every single time. So like I said, I honestly have no idea. I was honored enough to, you know, very quickly be part of a show last night and, you know, get in the ring and try my best, even though it didn't come out exactly the way I would have hoped for. Being eliminated, you know, it comes out of nowhere sometimes.
But but so did those clotheslines. So I mean, hey, from the standpoint of someone who was sitting ringside, I was like, wow, that those look like they hurt. Like, good Lord, kid looks good, folks.
But yeah, like I honestly, I don't have an answer for that, and it's just, Chinlock Wrestling is a wrestling company based out of my hometown, and just the fact that I was honored. I'm honored to just even be on a Chinlock Wrestling show, because Chinlock is so prestigious in regards to Kingston and even Ontario now. And it was a really cool feeling walking through the curtain and, hearing my music and people looking at me as I'm going towards a Chinlock ring with, these other wrestlers that I used to watch back when I was just a teenager, with CJ Felony included. I used to watch him as a fan, and now I'm being trained by him. That blows my mind literally every single week that, this guy that I've watched for years is now, teaching me how to suplex somebody. And I just love it. I love every single part of it.
For sure. And you talked a little bit earlier about Kane being someone who is it's still to this day your favorite. Who's kind of some other guys that kind of, I guess, influenced you, so to speak, and who you kind of like to look up to in the
How much time we got?
Another 10, 15, 20 minutes?
Let me just get up a roster list of everyone ever. I have so many. Like, Kurt Angle's definitely one of them as well, just in terms of suplexes. I love German suplexes. I love vertical suplexes. Bret Hart, obviously, being a Canadian kid.
Excellent execution.
Technical and submission style. But yeah, Kane's always been my number one. As soon as we were able to learn some moves, I was like, I got to learn the sidewalk slam. Like, I got to learn the choke slam. Because, again, my love of wrestling comes from Kane, because of some dude out there made some entrance for SmackDown 2 Know Your Role on the original PlayStation, and it made this kid become a giant wrestling nerd for his entire life. And yeah, I just, everyone has something that I love in wrestling, whether it's a taunt, whether it's a move, whether it's, a way they start to fire up, anything like that. Honestly, as silly as this sounds, everyone has something that inspires me to some extent. And I try and do the best of my ability what I can, but definitely there is a strong Kane and I'd say Kurt Angle influence to what I am trying to do anyway.
Choke slams and Germans, folks.
Look out for them.
Look out for some choke slams followed up by a couple Germans. You're going to be out of...
Oh, I would definitely regret if I didn't say Randy Orton as well.
Yeah, for sure, yeah.
The cutter is one of my favorite moves ever.
Yes, thank you for calling it a cutter on my program. I appreciate it.
Jumping cutter, if you will. But I also got to pull one of those. You might enjoy that. I got to do the cutter on CJ Felony a couple weeks ago.
Okay.
And that
got to hit him with it. That's cool.
I did. And it was an interesting feeling, because, you do a cutter, but then the 6-year-old inside of me just went, "You just did the RKO, man." Yes. So I held my composure, but yeah, Randy Orton, I would have to say, is definitely an influence in there as well.
For sure. We share that being our favorite wrestling move, the cutter.
One of the best moves ever.
Oh, for sure. So it's been fun talking wrestling, and I've had a lot of fun, but as we kind of get ready to slowly wrap it up, I have to ask about this, because as much as I could talk wrestling with you all day, tell me a little bit about the superhero side of your fandom, and kind of quick, how did this whole thing get going with you? When did you start getting into it? And also, do you prefer Marvel or DC?
Again, how much time we got? No, superheroes. I'd have to say superheroes are my first love, and again, that could also be translated into wrestling.
Sure, of course.
I've always loved superheroes, and I've always loved sports.
And I think there's a lot of, you take professional wrestlers who some of them are superheroes to a lot of people. So it's there's a lot of correlation.
And that's right. It's like I've always loved superheroes, and I've always loved sports, and wrestling in a lot of ways is superheroes.
Absolutely.
Sports, right. And so it's always made sense why I love wrestling. But both of my older brothers, like I have an older sister and 2 older brothers, and both of my older brothers are also giant nerds. Hi, Ben and Dave.
Shouts to them both. I've had the pleasure of meeting them both, and wonderful, great guys.
My sister Christine's not much of a nerd, but anyways, as a kid, I had these older brothers that were cool and everything, and they would be reading comic books or whatever, and I'm like, "What's that?" And they were like, "Here, little brother, read this."
Here's a comic.
And I'm like, "Okay," And then my brother and I would watch the Batman cartoon or the Spider-Man cartoon, and It's just superheroes have always been something that I love. They're larger than life. They're fun. They try to do good. They try to make the world a better place. And it's almost hard not to just fall in love with superheroes as a whole, even when there's dark stories and everything.
For sure, yeah.
You want to see the good guy come. And for Marvel versus DC, I'm really sounding like that guy on the podcast that just likes everything people please. I'm genuinely 50-50. As you can tell.
He's got, so let me set the scene for you here as I'm looking at his little area here. He's got DC on one side with, actually DC's outweighing Marvel right now, man.
Well, there are 3 here for repairs.
Oh, okay, I see, okay.
If you notice, so the one speaker is the Justice League, and then the one is the Avengers.
So, I mean, that's
right?
pretty cool.
So, I'm genuinely 50-50 on
He
both.
genuinely is. He's divided.
Honestly, I can't even say that 50-50 is fair. I'm 100-100 on both.
Yeah. You love them both. And
I really do.
So what did you think of the Justice League movies versus the Avengers movies?
Wow, the Avengers movies are better.
Yeah, okay.
Like,
I just wanted to get you to side with one. That's all I was doing.
Yeah.
But I didn't say what you're saying. Like the idea of, I mean, hey, I love the Green Arrow. Like, I love his whole deal, whereas I love Captain America.
Yeah.
I mean, I am nowhere on the same league as a comic book
I can
guy.
do an
but
hour-long podcast on each of those heroes.
Yeah, so it's like, it's just like, man, like it's such a cool thing. And, you know, like I said, like making the collation between wrestling and sports and superheroes and that, it's so interesting to think about that. But do you have like a favorite from each side, DC and Marvel, or?
Well, my favorite movie ever, and not just because it's a superhero movie, but my favorite movie ever is The Dark Knight, the second Christopher Nolan Batman movie with like Heath Ledger as the Joker and stuff. That's always my favorite movie. I literally saw that thing 8 times in the movie theater. 8 times.
And he's not bullcrapping either,
No,
guys. He saw it 8 times.
I just love that movie. So, you know, I've kind of had phases when I was a super young kid. Superman was like, he was my guy when I was like a young child.
I'm Superman.
And then
nothing
like,
can beat me.
Preteen, I kind of moved over to Spider-Man, you know, kind of the teenager.
Spooderman, yeah, you know,
Going-
he's the best.
And then once I became like a young adult, if you will, Batman was my guy. You know, kind of went through
I'm
like
Batman.
the favorites through.
I am the knight.
I just, again, I love all wrestling. I love all superheroes. I just like things a lot. That's what I've learned.
I like to like things.
There's not a lot of things I don't like. I just like fun things that are larger than life.
Well, and that's a beautiful sentiment too, man, because again, wrestling is larger than life. Hell, even talking sports, like, I mean, I know nothing, but you've got guys in the sports realm who are larger than life athletes. That's why they're being paid millions of dollars every year to, you know, do what they do because they're larger than life. And some of them are larger than life personalities.
Yeah.
You know, and bringing that all in, it's such an interesting thought to like, this is all that goes into making Sam Hudson the you know, potential entertainer, so to speak, that he is.
I guess so, yeah. Superheroes are great.
Superheroes are great for sure, and I mean that's so cool. It's such a cool vibe in your little area here, and
Thanks.
I'm so glad that we were able to finally do this. And
Yeah, same.
hook up and do the show, and thank you for allowing me the space to
Thanks for having me on.
have the
finally.
best sounding show I'm ever gonna have. And
Because again, it's been a disappointment. Because we recorded that podcast out January 2017.
sure did.
So I was supposed to be a part of your, list of past guests many, many moons ago. And now it's finally, knowing my luck, there's going to be some corruption in this.
Oh God, please don't say that.
I hope there isn't. But we had a great episode last time, and it didn't go through. So I just hope for the best, but expect the worst. But no, genuinely, thank you.
Oh man, of course.
I've been a listener of the Hotter Show for a long time, and it's a pretty cool feeling to be on the
God
other
bless
side
you,
of it.
sir. Thank you. I appreciate that. It will not take me 3 years to get you back on the
That'll
show
be good.
again.
Thank you again for having me.
Next time we talk to you, you'll be a badass German suplexing people and choke slamming them.
We'll just have to watch and find out, I guess.
Yeah, buddy. All right, thanks so much,
All
man.
right, thanks, DJ.
All right, gang. So there you have it. My chat with my man, Mr. Sam Hudson. Had such a blast. I'm so glad we were finally able to sit down and do that. And I'm so glad that you were able to tune into the show today. I hope that you had as much fun as I did. And I know he had fun too. It was cool doing it in that studio too. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. That was cool. That's something to aspire to. Being able to be in an isolated room and all that. That was pretty darn cool. Coming back to reality of, sitting in front of my computer in my little office room here is, it's cool. I'm happy, but it's like, man, it'd be cool to have this set up like that, wouldn't it? Maybe in the future. Who knows what will happen here in the world of the Harder Show. But either way, I hope that you guys have a fantastic rest of your week. Thank you so very much for tuning in. If you haven't yet, please be sure to hit that subscribe button, leave a follow, download, however you listen to the show. Please be sure to like us or follow or subscribe or whatever platform you are using. I do seriously appreciate it. And if you are listening on the YouTube, do be sure to hit that subscribe button, leave a like and dislike depending on what you thought. Comment and let me know. And maybe let us know some of your favorite wrestlers, and let us know some of your favorite moments and what you think about the wrestling landscape today. I'd be very curious to hear from you. You can also contact me anytime on social media at The Harder Show. I have the Facebook and Instagram up and running all the time. I do also have a Twitter, but I'm not very active on there anymore. You can also contact me anytime at thehardershow@gmail.com if maybe you want to come on the show. Maybe you have an idea for something you want me to discuss on the show, or you have a comment or anything like that. I love to chat with you guys. Be sure to hit me up and be sure to contact Jay Bridges Arts if you have any need at all for graphic design. And if you need a professional wrestler, well, you contact my man Sam. Or maybe are you in need of some great beard products? The holidays are starting to come up here, and maybe you got that bearded individual in your family. Maybe they've been complaining about an itchy beard lately. If they have, go on meanbeardco.com today and check out the fine products that they have. They have beard oils, beard balms, and Mean Whip, which is a unique product, kind of like a beard butter. Kind of a nice mix between the balms and the oils. The oils will help fight itchiness and help moisturize not only your beard itself, but the skin underneath your beard, keeping it healthy. And healthy skin means a healthy beard, and it's not overly greasy and all that gross stuff. There's no harsh perfumes it's all natural. You don't need to worry about any weird chemicals or some of the stuff I see in beard products nowadays. I'm just like, I won't put that in my beard. It's all natural, all naturally essential oils and other carrier oils in the Mean Beard product. The balm itself is great if you need maybe a little bit of help with styling your beard or your mustache. It also helps to protect it from the elements quite well, and also does help boost the scent a little bit. Myself personally, I like to use the Gunsmoke scent myself. That's my favorite, and the Rockstar is kind of my daily wear. I'll use the oil and the balm, and it will make me smell fantastic all freaking day. And also, of course, the Mean Whip it's called a beard enhancer, because what it does is it kind of gives you the best of both worlds. It helps to tame your beard as well as keep it moisturized and healthy, while still providing a great scent that is, it's fully natural. There's no harsh perfumes or any kind of that stuff at all. It is just a nice natural scent, and a lot of people love it, man. I've been stopped on the streets before wearing Mean Beard products, people saying, "You smell amazing. What are you wearing?" It has happened, and it will happen to you, and people will compliment how great your beard looks. And what is most important is you personally will notice how great your beard looks. I can guarantee you're going to absolutely love the Mean Beard product and the whole Mean Beard community, the Mean Beard family, we call it. It's all about having that positive, aggressive attitude and standing with purpose, being positive in the world, because the world needs more positivity and people to stand up for things they believe in and stand up for their community and their friends and stand up for the little guy and stuff like that. That's what Mean Beard is all about, and I know that we will be honored to have you as a member of our family. So go on meanbeardco.com today and check out the fine products available. And don't forget to also check out the combs as well. I love my Mean Beard comb. I do not leave the house without it. So check it out. Go on meanbeardco.com today. And also be sure to join the community on Facebook and Instagram by using hashtag MeanBeard when you post. And that is going to do it for me here today, guys. Again, thank you so very much for tuning in. I hope you have a fantastic rest of your week, and I'll catch you next time on The Harder Show. Take it easy, guys.
Now, Mr. Hudson, Samuel, if I may, before we go, I'm very curious, sir. How do you think that your chances will fare in the future of Chinlock Wrestling?
I mean, I'm gonna do my best.
No, that's very interesting, sir. If I may, why do you think that you were bested during the Rumble last night?
Well, when I went into the ring, it just seemed as if, when...
That's very... Now, if I may, if the good people would like to find you, where can they find you?
My name on Facebook is the same, Sam Hudson.
That's Sam Hudson. Okay, very good. I want to thank you for joining us on the program. That was for Jordan. That's my 80s wrestler interviewer. No, I don't know where I came from, but I wanted to do that so
NWA
bad.
Power, that's what.
Hell yeah.